And we are back here on the Nine Innings channel, and we're talking today on this Facts Over Feeling episode about Trump accounts. What are they? What aren't they? And we know whenever the government opens up a new account or gives us an opportunity, we like to overcomplicate it. We start comparing it to 15 different other accounts. We throw out all this tax language. We eventually get to the point where we're so confused that no one does anything. Today, I want to kind of parse through all of that noise. And I'm going to explain what a Trump account is, three ways it differs from an IRA account you already know about. And then I'll give you some perspective, our perspective, because I think these accounts are fine. But revolutionary, not so much. So without further ado, come on in. So, what is a Trump account, right? At its core, it's an investment for a child, plain and simple. That's the easiest way to explain it. Now, if your child qualifies under this pilot program, the federal government will subsidize or put money into this account of up to 100, up to $1,000. Well, I was about to say 100,000. No, $1,000. It's a one-time investment. It doesn't mean it's going to happen over and over and over again. It's a one-time investment. Let me be clear, because I've already seen confusion. One-time investment. Understand that. The government is not putting in 1,000 every single year for the next 3 or 4 years. No, it's a one-time investment. After that, parents, grandparents, family members, and even some cases, employers can contribute additional money. Now, there's a cap, $5,000 cap. The employer's capped at $2,500. So, in any given year, up to $5,000 could go into this account. Now, granted, for 2026, 2027, it's 5,000, and then I believe it's going to go up after that due to inflation. So you'll be able to put more money into it, invest it, leave it alone, let compound growth do what compound growth does, simply grow. But this is where people start to get confused because I've heard Trump accounts compared to Roth IRAs, and they are not. I've heard them compared to 529 plans, and they are not. They're not really any of those things. They borrow pieces from each account to a degree, but Trump accounts are their own thing. And there are three differences I want to discuss with you. Number one, in a Trump account, your kid doesn't need a job. In IRAs, you have to have earned income. In Trump account, your kid does not need a job. They don't have to have compensation. They don't need any legitimate work. You can't just wake up one morning and say, hey, my 6-year-old is working for my company, and suddenly put thousands into a Roth IRA. Again, I mean, I've seen it. You can try. The IRS may have some questions, but with Trump accounts, the child does not need to have income during the period. That's a huge deal. Parents can contribute, grandparents can contribute, family members can contribute, and the child doesn't need to earn money for it. This is actually a pretty good feature because it allows you to build wealth for the child. Because one of the biggest barriers to getting children invested early is the earned income requirement. A 5-year-old generally doesn't have a W-2. At least mine didn't. So Trump, the accounts, allows children to participate in the market growth before they even enter the workforce. That's a legitimate benefit. But understand something. Someone still has to put the money into the account. And we're about to get into that. Number two, you can't just invest your kid's account into the next greatest thing. Oh, we're going to go buy some Starlink or whatever we want to call it these days. Oh, we're going to put this into some iron ore company in South Africa. No. Traditional IRAs, Roth IRAs, you can generally have the wide world of investments at your leisure. The investment universe is there. Stocks, bonds, ETFs, mutual funds. Depending on your custodian, you can even probably buy options. All right. Trump accounts, very restrictive. Think broad market ETFs, low cost, no leverage, no crazy positioning. And now you can't think about just buying a single stock. So that's out of the question. And you know what? I actually don't hate that. I actually think it's a good idea. Sometimes more choices aren't better. Simplify. Like I said before, let's use compound growth, compound interest to its advantage. If the goal is long-term growth for the child, buying a broad index, hey, keeping costs low, hey, and leaving money alone, that's probably not the worst strategy in the world. It's boring, but boring works. Think about boring in a standpoint. And I saw this a couple of days ago. They were saying, hey, the turtle lives 200 years. The massive turtle can live 200 years. The lion, the king of the jungle, lives roughly 15 to 16 years. The turtle, slow, boring, but it survives. The lion, quick, but it dies. There's trade-offs and flexibility. There's trade-offs, but there's also beauty and boredom. You don't have the same investment freedom. I get it. But there's beauty and boredom. Maybe that's the point. Number 3, the money is not your piggy bank. This may be the most important part of the episode here. The money is generally locked up during the growth period, roughly 18 years. You can't just wake up one day and say, I want to take everything out of it. There's going to be penalties and interest and all the other stuff attached to it. So if the child needs braces, you need money for private school, you need to buy them a car. That's not what this account's for. This isn't an emergency fund. This isn't a piggy bank. Once the child reaches an end, age 18, they can take that money out, but they're going to be taxed like a traditional IRA. And this is where the marketing gets ahead of the actual tax rules. I've seen people saying that, oh, it's tax free. No, it's not. These accounts are not Roth accounts. No, that's not how it works. Some of the money may represent after-tax contributions, so your principal amount, yeah, for sure, that's basis. Other portions of the account may be taxable. If the child takes taxable money out early, there may also be a 10% penalty unless they qualify for an exception. Education may be an exception, but still you're taxed. Ordinary income. Certain first-time home buyer expenses may be exceptions. But here's the line I want you to understand. No penalty does not mean no tax. I'm going to say it again. No penalty does not mean no tax. Just because the IRS waives a 10% early withdrawal penalty doesn't mean the taxable portion of the distribution suddenly becomes tax-free. Those are two completely different conversations. And that brings me to education. Number 4. We're at 3 or 4. If this is for education, if you're looking for an account that you're going to put money away for education, why not use a 529? This is where I start asking questions. If you're telling me the primary purpose of this account, primary purpose of this money is for education, why wouldn't the 529 be the plan? The 529, the money can go tax deferred, just like this account. If you use the money for qualified educational expenses, it comes out tax free. That's different from simply avoiding a 10% penalty. So if I take taxable money from a Trump account for higher education, I may avoid a penalty, but I can still owe ordinary income taxes on the taxable portion. Again, no penalty does not mean no tax. Now, the Trump account may provide some flexibility. Maybe the child doesn't go to college. Maybe the use of the money toward the first home. Maybe they leave the money invested for retirement. That's where the Trump account becomes more interesting. But if you tell me, Kevin, I'm specifically using this for my child's education, I'm probably looking very hard at a 529. The account should allow you to follow the goal, not the other way around. So we've talked about some positive benefits of the Trump accounts. I want to get to this. I want to get to my problems with the Trump accounts. This is where I get into my perspective. I don't think they're bad. Let me be clear. If my child qualifies for $1,000 government contribution, I'm opening the account immediately. Why wouldn't I? It's free money. Well, let's stop using that free money thing real quick, because it's never free money. It's your money. Let's just be real with that. So it's not free money. It's your money. You're giving me $1,000 I can potentially compound in decades. I'll take it. Thank you very much. But my issue is that the idea of these accounts somehow is going to fundamentally change wealth creation in America. That's not going to happen. Here's the reality. Most families are going to get that $1,000 contribution and never contribute another dollar. Not because they're bad parents, not because they're financially irresponsible, but because they just don't have the money. Childcare is expensive. Housing is expensive. Food is expensive. Healthcare is expensive. You have families trying to figure out it's not simple things, but try to figure out how to make it to Friday. And we're telling them, hey, don't forget to put $5,000 into your newborn's investment account. Come on, man. How ridiculous does that sound? That's not the reality for a lot of Americans. So who gets the biggest benefit? The families who can consistently fund the account. Let's say I put $5,000 a year into the child's account. I do it for 18 years. That's $90,000 in contributions before growth, before compounding, before market appreciation. But let's be real. The family that can put $5,000 away every single year for a child was probably already in a stronger financial position. So does the account create wealth? Absolutely. Does it solve a wealth gap? Absolutely not. I'm not convinced. In some ways, it may actually highlight the wealth gap, perpetuate the wealth gap, because compounding, I'm going to say this again, compounding works really well when you have money to compound. That's just math. So what should we do? So what would I actually do? Here's how I would look at it. If my child qualifies for a government contribution, open the Trump account, take the money, invest it, leave it alone. After that, I need to figure out my goal. If I'm saving specifically for education, I'm looking at a 529. If my child has legitimate earned income, I'm looking at a Roth IRA. If I'm trying to build long-term wealth, I want money invested for decades. Now the Trump account becomes more interesting. Different accounts, different rules, different tax treatment, different goals. This is what financial planning actually is. It's not asking, what's the best account? There is no best account. The question is, what's the best account for what I'm trying to accomplish? That's a completely different question. So in closing, it's a challenging conversation, I know. Are Trump accounts worth it? If you're eligible for the 1,000, surely go take the money. Are they revolutionary? Absolutely not. The ability to invest for a child without earned income requirement is valuable for sure, 100%. The forced simplicity of low-cost index investing actually is a benefit. It gets rid of all of the noise. And getting children invested earlier is a good thing. But parents need to understand the tax rules. They need to understand the restrictions. And they need to compare this account to the other options that are available, especially the 529, because the name on the account doesn't matter. The politician attached to the account doesn't matter. The marketing doesn't matter. The rules matter. The taxes matter. And the goal matters. Those are the facts. You can decide how you feel about it. Thank you guys for listening. I'm Kevin Thompson. This has been Facts That We're Feeling. I'll see you next time. Thanks again.